This is Things You Might Have Heard. I am Jay Clifton Payne, and I'm going to present for you in moments yesterday's latest in information, politics, current events, and pop culture news that was vetted by you to tell us that it was the coolest. This is your go-to supplemental source for both mainstream and unconventional news stories. That is us, that maybe you've missed, but we add a little context to the ones just in case you didn't get that. If you're watching the video, you're seeing the teaser graphic, and yes, we're talking about Jim Jordan, but we have 7 other stories to get into for the morning that I know you will enjoy, as we said, vetted by you, and then of course sorted by me. We'll explain that whole process in just a bit. Plus, hang tight because we have some fun stuff at the very end. You won't want to miss that. Check out our website. This is a conversationproject.com for more details on how we do this every single day. And now let's get into the headlines. Today is Thursday, October 19th, 2023. The stories that you vetted as conversational, at least some of them, are coming up right now. And let's get into those headlines, shall we? Starting off number one, the number one story for the day is a story that was basically 20 years in the making. Joran van der Sloot confesses to the 2005 murder of Natalee Holloway in Aruba. We pulled this from USA Today, but of course it was everywhere, as the 36-year-old Joran van der Sloot has confessed to killing Natalee Holloway and disposing of her remains before trying to extort the grieving family. This has been a long time coming to an answer, but now we have an answer where he has officially said he did the murder, he did the deed, and then disposed of the body so it can't be found, which is the more sad part about it. And then tried to extort the family for about $250,000 to get information on where the body was held, even though there is no body. Now, he was sentenced to 20 years in prison, but as part of a plea deal, he agreed to reveal how Natalee Holloway died and how her body was disposed of. That gets him out of some of that time. He's also dealing with some other trials and other issues around the world. He's apparently not only a bad dude, but a really, really bad dude doing lots of bad things. Beth Holloway, the reporter, told reporters that van der Sloot confessed to killing a teenager on a beach before dumping her into the water. Beth says she felt at peace knowing that van der Sloot did it alone and dispose of it alone, and there was not a larger scale on that. Of course, the 18-year-old vanished during a trip to Aruba with high school classmates. Her disappearance garnered years of news coverage and became the subject of true crime docuseries and podcasts, basically kind of paving the way for what we have right now in all the true crime. But this one, a very sad story. Glad to have a ending, obviously not a very happy ending, but a conclusion to this story, which was literally 20 or so years in the making. Now it's on to Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan loses a second House Speaker vote after 22 Republicans opposed him. This is after the first vote where 20 Republicans opposed him, and a third vote expected today where we're not sure how many Republicans will oppose him, but it'll probably just keep on growing. The biggest issue is that the Democrats can't do anything to fix this other than partner up with some other Republicans who will just vote somebody they like in, and Democrats are already saying it's going to be Hakeem Jeffries or not, and they're all backing him. Now, the biggest part about the Republicans is they have the most votes, so they should be able to vote in the person they want to be a speaker. That's what happened with McCarthy, but because there were some holdouts and some crazies, it took them 15 votes to get there. Now, because Jim Jordan is essentially the crazy who was a holdout, it's going to take them a while to either allow Jordan to take over, which many people are saying no, or figure something else out. The figure something else out part needs to be done quickly, because as I've been saying for the 2 weeks we've had no speaker, we can't get anything done in Congress because we have no speaker. And right now, President Biden's going to have a big plea today on TV for more aid to Ukraine and aid to Israel to back their processes, to back their issues. But they can't do that if there ain't no speaker in the House to make things go. It is just a truth of what it is. Now, headline for the third story this morning: Ford reshuffles top management as UAW strike drags on. This may seem like it's a not a very interesting story, but it is what's happening right now. It is the fact that Ford, the motor company, is trying to manage itself by just managing itself. It's doing some reshuffling, putting a new Kumar Galhotra in the position of chief operating officer and Andrew Frick as the new head of Ford Blue. Meanwhile, the big news that isn't news is that the auto workers, United Auto Workers, the union, aren't working well with the negotiation with any of the car companies, and things aren't looking great. Every single week, more pieces of the auto working groups go on strike to have more pushing, crushing blows to the auto workers, but no resolution to a strike is anywhere near. Musk X tests $1 fee for new users in Philippines and New Zealand in a bid to target spam. Are you willing to pay to use Twitter as a new user to sign up for it? Elon Musk says that social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter, charging $1 fee to new users in the Philippines and New Zealand to cut down on spam and fake accounts flourishing on the site formerly known as Twitter. Some experts say the $1 fee might do much to stop fake accounts and could even amplify the problem because for only $1, you're in the system as opposed to getting an account and trying to Twitter X, Blue X, whatever for $8 to be verified. For just $1, you can get in there. So why not throw a couple bucks out there to make sure that you seem like you're a real account? We'll see if this new plan will do things. Now, the biggest thing that Musk basically had when he bought Twitter was the bots, the bots, the bots. And so he's trying to, effectively fight the bots and fight the power and fight the red pills and fight all the things out there that must be fought on the Twitter, which is the problem. Way too many things to fight on the Twitter or the X. We'll see if the dollar plan is going to make it worldwide. It's going to make it there in the Philippines and New Zealand, and if it either helps or actually hurts the efforts by Mr. Musk. Maybe he makes a quick buck. Maybe that's how he's going to make his money back. Veteran voice actress Tara Strong fired from animated show over Israel-Hamas post. Quote, just found out. Tara Strong is one of the most popular voices in cartoons, animation. She's voiced things on Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, many movies, and she was let go from an independent animated series called Boxtown after she made a serious post on the ongoing Israel and Hamas conflict. Now, as I've been saying for days and spent time on Saturday talking about, your side you're taking on this issue is causing issues with people getting work and people being civil, things like that, because there are serious issues with the way the folks the Hamas are supposedly representing are treated, the Palestinians. There's issues there, but the way that Hamas is treating this issue by being terrorists is where the issue pretty much gets axed. However, there's been back and forth on the Israel and Palestine, Israel, Hamas, all that back and forth. What she was fired for specifically was a media post claiming that she was axed from the show simply for being Jewish. She wrote her statement in response to a show's official account announcing the role would be recast. Tara Strong was fired from Boxtown for being Jewish, essentially. Some fans criticized the show for cutting ties with Strong. You can go deeper in this story and see how it goes on. Now, this seems like a kind of a stretch going on, especially her being such a popular and prolific voice actress, being on all over things. But this is one story that did not get a lot of play in the big time because it's kind of washed in other things, and it's also stuck in the minutia of the people taking a side and going back and forth. This is a simple story that doesn't have a lot to it, but when it popped up, I was like, let's see how this goes. You guys always respond to OnlyFans stories. You just do. This one, check this one out. Your worst fears have been relieved. OnlyFans model horrified after learning her top subscriber was secretly her stepdad. Taylor Madison discovered her stepfather was one of her most highly spending OnlyFans subscribers after investigating the username. Despite boasting a very specific username and a handful of kinks, Madison didn't think much of her zealous supporter until one day she noticed a connection between his OnlyFans handle and that of the user that he'd viewed on one videos on her TikTok. So essentially she found out. And don't think of this more as creepy. Think of more as extra support. Now, the old joke, if you remember long ago, for literally 20 years ago, that Chris Rock had about your job as a father. Your one job is to keep your daughter off the pole. Keep her from going to being a porn star. Keep her from going to strip clubs and being on the pole. Here's a case where the guy did the opposite. His daughter went to the pole, and he's supporting her by essentially throwing dollar bills at her. It's a little weird, a lot weird, but it's a different time. AI is coming from your jobs, and basically it's coming for your life, essentially, as this is the headline we put in for this story. A lawyer for Pras, Michel, used AI to craft closing arguments. Now the Fugees rapper wants his conviction tossed. The lawyer for Pras, Michel, used AI to craft the closing arguments, that being attorney David Kenner. His first remarks to the jury appeared to be an admission of guilt in a fraud trial involving allegations for Proscaria, who is known as Pras, Michel, directing a sprawling conspiracy to funnel money to the Obama re-election campaign. Because it was using AI and because it was a little batty, Mr. Michel, Pras is asking for a retrial because he believes his representation was flawed. Will that happen? Probably not, but we will see how that goes down. Like I say, AI is coming for all our jobs, and when it's used in law, we are finding it's used very poorly. I'm not getting the job done here. What's really sad about this whole situation is that Pras, one of the members of the very influential R&B hip hop group, the Fugees, is another example of someone that just everyone attached to that band, whether they were actually in the band or whether they're attached as producers or workers of the band, having such a horrible life at this point with things happening towards their ends. And finally, little love for Jussie Smollett, or a little peace, if you will, as he enters a rehab treatment facility due to dealing with extremely difficult past years, which is an understatement. A rep for Smollett told TMZ, where we got this link, that the actor has had an extremely difficult few years, and is quietly working hard for some time now. Also has a project coming up with Vivica A. Fox. I guess because she's such a fox, I said it 3 times fast. Vivica A. Fox. So he's got more work coming, oddly enough, but he needs a little break, and he's gonna go to rehab, and we say yes, yes, yes. In our apologies, errors, and omissions today, no apologies for real, no real errors, but we're not talking about the striking actors. Of all the things, we're not talking about striking actors. We have a story that we posted yesterday that had a lot of attention, but not enough time to get into, on George Clooney meeting with the SAG after leadership. Basically, George Clooney saying, all right, guys, time to figure out what to get to work, get these things together. We need people back to work. George Clooney's basically speaking to the leadership of the union for the actors to figure out what's up. Here's where we talk about how you vet the stories and get us what to talk about every single day. This is our teaser story for this day, and this story is one we may talk about tomorrow if you deem it worthy of chatting. And it's very simple. You go to what we call the feeds. It's just our links on Twitter and Facebook, or X and Facebook, we can call it whatever. And you just engage in the stories, just like you do anything else. When you check Facebook or X for other things, see what we have going on and engage in the stories we have right there in the feed. You can like them, you can love them, you can hate them, you can share them, you can do what you want to do with them. The more engagement the story gets, the better chance we have of talking about it. The top 15 stories of a day will come into play for tomorrow. It's the top 15 stories for all day, plus a little early morning tomorrow will come into play, and we'll pick 8 of those stories to present to you here in the video podcast, however you take this in. A story that we may take in tomorrow is this one. Nokia plans to cut up to 14,000 jobs after sales and profits plunge in a weak market. Nokia is not making any money in the cell phone business, not making money in telecommunications in general, and the love for nostalgia is not turning into dollars and cents for the company. They are cutting a whole lot of jobs, a whole lot of places, and we can go deeper into the story if you deem this one conversational. If it's a top 15 story, more than likely we'll chat about it tomorrow in the things you might have heard. So go to our feeds, Facebook and Twitter, and let us know what we need to talk about, because you do this. Let us know what to talk about. We also talk about sponsorships, and our sponsor for today happens to be I Heart RVing. And right now, as the weather is getting much, much cooler, and if you're still thinking about getting in the camping experience but don't want to do the tent thing while it's cool, you know what's great about camping indoors? It's indoors. You know what's great about an RV? It's indoors wherever you want it to be. A nice, small, tiny RV or a huge monstrosity that's got all the adornments of a home is a great place to enjoy your great outdoors and be indoors when the time gets right, like when it's cold and wet and rainy in the woods. So check out iHeart RVing, where it allows you to find information on RVing and how to get into the world of RVing, being rentals or buying, and just the great best places to be. This is an affiliate link like everything else, but this one doesn't ask as much you to buy something, so this is one we're not making a lot of money off of unless you go the extra mile. Now, we suggest you do that because RVing and camping, great activities for the family, and we want you to do as much as you can and get that time in. So check out our link at our website. This is theconversationproject.com/RV. This is theconversationproject.com/RV. It's an affiliate link, so if you actually go through a purchase and buy from them, from one of their vendors, we get a piece of that action. We thank you so much for that. Now, let's talk about us very quickly. The Conversation Project lives online at thisistheconversationproject.com. And our home online allows you to see what we do all day long for you in the world of news and conversational ideas and items. We are, backing away from some of the quirky stuff because honestly, it's not getting the responses that I like to on a regular basis. We're going to start pumping more things back in there and get them in some sort of rotation where it's more equal. But we give you chances to involve yourself in news stories and conversations with people you don't normally get across the internet. And we do some vetting. We let you tell us what stories are good. We give you some of the ideas of what they're going on. And we do some of the battling from the trolls, although there's still plenty of trolls out there. We ask you to check out our feeds on Facebook and Twitter or X to tell us what to talk about. Email us at theconversationinbox@gmail.com so we know what stories to talk about, whether here or for the weekend shows. And of course, in our little interjection hits, you know what goes on. Yesterday, nobody cared about Dolly Parton going to the Super Bowl to play or going to the halftime show for Thanksgiving at the Cowboys. I don't understand that. That was all about love. But it happens. So that was a miss. You did seem to care about other things that were kind of off, including the books by Jada Pinkett Smith and Britney Spears. We know that because we get responses from you. So you help us with that. You can also help us directly by going to our partnerships page and finding ways to partner up with us so we can work together to do more good stuff for the world. It costs you nothing to go to the feeds. It costs you nothing to go to the email. It may cost you something for the partnerships, but we can use the help, and we thank you in advance for all that you give to us. And now, as we wrap up for this morning, let's get to the other things you might not have heard, some fun things for the morning, including this little tidbit right here. Birthday wishes out to John Lithgow, who's 78 years old today. We had a whole bunch of people to pick from and a bunch of boxers today, but John Lithgow, oddly enough, shortest name to go with, because that's what we're doing these days. John Lithgow, the prolific actor, of course, he was a really, really intense bad dude early on. And then Third Rock from the Sun came out, and now everybody sees him as this jovial guy. He played Philip Drummond in the little redo they did of Different Strokes about a year or so back. So now he's just this jovial guy, but he was like coming up as a Hollywood bad guy going forward, starring in the one with Denzel Washington in L.A., which got us 40-odd yards of grunts. Oddly enough, one of those things. Here he is on a 78th birthday. Birthday wishes. Happy birthday to you, Mr. Lithgow. Also, on this day in 2016, this was the day that Donald Trump refused to say he would accept the results of the upcoming election during a debate with Hillary Clinton at Nevada University, Las Vegas. Now, we know how that one played out. He accepted the results of that election because he won the electoral vote, not the popular vote. In the one that followed in 2020 for his re-election, he did not quite accept that, and now we're still dealing with plenty of the stuff from that one. Won't rehash it now, but we will remind you that he's also running for president again, and he's got indictments and court cases and things that are sort of getting in the way, and Russia, all that stuff. What today's celebration is Love Your Body Day. Love Your Body Day is a real thing. And some of these things you think of as made up. Technically, it was made up, but it essentially came to prominence. It's every third Wednesday in October, meant for women of all sizes, colors, ages, and abilities to come together and celebrate self-acceptance and promote positive body image. I think it was actually made up by one of the soap brands or something like that, but it's something that is officially on the books. You can go see it. You can, if you go into the holiday of the day calendars, it's there. So we have it today. It is Love Your Body Day. And as John Mayer says, your body is a wonderland, so have at. It's your body. Love yourself any way you want to get some love to yourself. I am Jay Cleveland Payne. This has been Things You Might Have Heard for Thursday, October the 19th, 2023. Thank you so much for being with us for this edition of the show. Thank you so much for being with us through trials and tribulations for some of you for the years we've been doing this. Some of you guys just for the year or so we've been doing it in this format. We thank you for all the love, all the support, all the heartache and heartbreak as well when you email us your suggestions to do what to do. And sometimes I do it and sometimes just think, you? So it goes along those lines. So thank you so much for being a part of what we have going on here. I want you to make sure you follow us on our feeds on Facebook and Twitter so we know exactly what to talk about. And stop by our partnerships page if it's something that you're up to keep things going, help us keep things going here for the shows. We are going to prepare for another great episode. So we have stories posted now, stories posted all day, every 50 minutes on the feeds. Check them out all day. Stay limber, stay hydrated, stay on task for all the grand things you are here to do on this earth. and be prepared for what we're calling a Great Friday. We're going to call it right now. Great Friday happening tomorrow, which unironically is your Friday. That's how that works.